Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's Myles. Now, recently I did a post on the YouTube channel and I asked everybody, hey guys, would you like the topic of how much money I lost on my rental properties for May of 2020? And over 400 people voted and 80+% said yes, we want to know. At this channel, we love doing transparency, we love numbers, and man, what a better way than to share with you guys my real life example of how my rental properties did last month. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on in this world. There's a pandemic going around. JCPenney's going out of business. Millions of people are filing for unemployment. And landlords are a little nervous right now. Will their tenants be able to pay rent? For myself, I love real estate. That's my favorite asset class. I love buying performing assets that produce cash flow. I have been since 2012. Right now, I own over 20 properties and close to 30 doors or tenants. If you guys haven't checked out my video yet on revealing my entire real estate portfolio, check it out. It's a good one. I go into depth about all the properties that I own. But for today, I want to touch on May, right? With this pandemic going around, we don't know what's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if a lot of businesses are going to go out of business. I'm wondering what's going to happen when unemployment runs out, when the government stops producing and printing money. And that's, I think, one thing that really helped me out in May is with everybody being on unemployment, it helped because they actually had money to pay their rent. One of the big things we did for May, myself and my beautiful wife, Gianna, she's the property manager, we contacted all of our tenants in about April, as soon as everything started going on. And we reached out to each one individually. And we said, hey, how is everything going? Are you guys affected? Are you guys laid off? What's your plan? Are you guys getting on unemployment? Are you going back to work? So that right there is a big reason why we were proactive and why we were okay going into this month of May. At least we felt okay, right? We didn't really know exactly what's going to happen, but being proactive and reaching out to your tenants, man, was that a huge step forward, and that was a great thing that we did, because at least we kind of knew and we had an idea who's going to be paying, who won't be paying. Instead of just going into May and being like, fingers crossed, like, man, hopefully everybody pays. No, we reached out, we talked to everybody, and we worked out payment plans for a lot of people. Some people paid bi-weekly. They would pay the second week of the month, and then they'd pay the remainder towards the end. Some people, basically, they were like, hey, I'm waiting on unemployment. I'm planning on paying you this month, and once it goes through, you'll get paid. Some people were super proactive, and they said, hey, we got our stimulus check. Here's a month or two up front, which is beautiful, being a landlord. Anytime somebody can pay a couple of months up front, man, is that nice, because you don't have to worry about it, right? Of all of our tenants, we didn't charge any late fees this month or last month. We understand and we sympathize with our tenants. We know that people getting laid off, people maybe not going back to work, having to find a new job, waiting on unemployment. We understand that everybody's human, everybody's going through this. So we did not charge any late fees for our tenants for this month or May or even next month. Before we get into the numbers, I want to give a special shout out to the Super Chat champ right here. Go check them out at MMA Twins on Instagram. We go live every Sunday. So if you guys aren't doing anything, you guys want to check it out, come join us. I'm going to do a live stream. We're going to talk about mixed martial arts, real estate, money, finance, investing. And man, it's always a good time. So if you guys can make it, let's do it. Before we get into those numbers as well, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. So drum roll, please. So our total income, money coming in from all the rents for the month of May was $24,160. Now this is a lot of money. Too bad we can't keep all that. We don't get to make all that. We actually got to pay our expenses as well. When you're a landlord and you invest in a real estate, there's certain expenses that come along with owning rental property. These are, utilities, this is mortgages, lawn care, taxes, insurance, vacancy taken out. These are all things you have to account for and you got to know when you get into real estate investing. Remember, it's a numbers game. When you buy a property, you always want to know how much you're going to net at the end of the year after you pay all your expenses. So understanding numbers and actually going through the numbers with a fine-tooth comb is super, super important. Our total expenses for the month of May was $13,988. So after we paid the mortgage company, after we paid our interest on it, after we paid our insurance companies, after we paid, the electric bills and the water bills, after we paid our lawn care guys for going over there and cutting the lawn and keeping it looking beautiful, and after we accounted for vacancy, which is very important, you need to always factor in that times, you might not have people living in your units. So we always add that in accordingly each month. And that came out to $13,988 total. Now we also account for maintenance. Now this is, with a rental property, you have an asset like a roof, you have a cash flowing asset, but it also costs money every month, or you at least have to plan for stuff breaking down. You have to plan for that roof, that you might have to replace in 10 years. You might have to, fix that leaking toilet. You might have to go in there and put in some new windows or redo some carpet, paint, and these are all things that you have to account for. And we take 10% off of our rent, basically, and put it into account, and it stays in this account for repairs, maintenance, and we call it our maintenance reserve. So our maintenance reserve is $2,700 a month. And in our properties, they're not shacks, we're not slumlords. We keep up with our properties, and everything's in good working order, but at the same time, we're not naive. We know that, in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, we're gonna have to replace a furnace. We're gonna have to replace a roof. There's gonna be a lot of stuff that comes up. And last thing you wanna do is, in 10 years, you have a roof that you gotta fix and you haven't been planning for it. You have to pay that 10, 15, 20 grand, and you don't have it sitting in the bank. That's gonna hurt you. So we're automatically planning for that. And that's why we put away that $2,700 every month right off tops. Even if we don't spend it that whole month, it just sits in the account and it rolls over into the next month. So when those big repairs come up, or we have to send a handyman over to fix something, we have a big pool of money to draw from. So that way we're not ever cash strapped. That's very, very important. And a good rule of thumb is usually 10% of your gross rents, or 10% of whatever money you have coming in. If the property is, a little older and it's a little more beat up, maybe you can do an extra 5%, so maybe 15%. But from, the standard, rule of thumb that I've seen and that I use and it works for us is right around 10%. Now the most important part of when you own rental properties is your cash flow. Man, say it with me, cash flow. I love cash flow, and that at the end of the day is the bottom line. How much money are you making after all the rent comes in and you pay all your expenses? That's the big important thing, right? Our cash flow for the month of May was $7,472. After paying everything, everybody, we came up with $7,472 in our pocket. But wait, there's more. We were planning for $7,472, but by the time the month was over with, we didn't collect all of our rent. We were missing out on $330. One of our tenants, one of our long-term tenants, he had some family trouble, some personal issues, and he wasn't able to pay all of his rent this month. Which, it happens, and we understand everything that's going on. So we told him, we said, look, you can roll that into next month, and you can catch up and pay the remaining $330 next month. So overall, we only lost $330 this month on cash flow. Everybody else paid their rent. So right off the top of my head, that's close to 95, 96% of our tenants paid in full, which to me, that's beautiful, man. That's a good month. I will take it. Again, I really think a big thing that helped us out is the unemployment this month. A lot of our tenants were collecting it. A lot of our tenants were waiting to go back to work. And, knock on wood, thankfully, everybody is going back to work. There's nobody that's really crazy affected so far by this whole pandemic going around. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they continue to keep their jobs and continue moving forward. Because at the end of the day, I wonder what's going to happen to the people that lost their jobs, and that when unemployment runs out, that's when stuff's going to get real. People aren't going to have that federal money coming in, that government money coming in anymore. And that's, when they're going to have to find a new job and might not be able to pay rent. But so far, month of May, we didn't have to deal with that. So I'll keep our fingers crossed. Maybe June will be the same. And I'm interested to see where this economy goes. If everybody's going back to work, how many jobs are going to get lost permanently? And once this stimulus money runs out and all this unemployment money runs out, what's going to happen? Are people going to lose work indefinitely, or is everything going to pick back up and get back to normal? I'm interested to see. Make sure you guys, if you lasted all the way to this video, all the way to the end, drop a comment below. Let me know. Do you think that's good? Do you think that's how it's going to be moving forward? Everybody basically paying their rent? Or do you think we have tough times coming up? I want to know what you guys think. As always, great chatting with you guys, and until next time.